The tools hanging in your grandfather's shed were not junk. They were not primitive. They were engineered solutions that took decades to develop and 15 years to erase from public memory. Number 3 on this list cut through hardwood faster than anything cordless at Home Depot today. Number 11 quietly outperforms a tool that costs $400 new. Here's the truth. The home improvement industry did not get better. It got more profitable. Hit subscribe. Let us count down the 20 forgotten pioneer tools that outperform anything sold at Home Depot today. Number 20. The Stanley Yankee Push Drill. Before cordless drills existed, your grandfather kept a Yankee push drill above his workbench. It weighed less than a pound. He sank 200 pilot holes in a single afternoon without stopping to change a battery, because there was no battery to change. The spiral ratchet converts a straight push into rotation. 6 interchangeable bits were stored inside the hollow handle. Find a vintage Yankee on eBay for $12 to $18. Stanley stopped marketing the Yankee in the late 1970s as battery tool partnerships became more lucrative. Your grandfather never had a dead battery on a job site. He never had one at all. Number 19. The Draw Knife. Before electric planers existed, your great-grandmother's father shaped every chair leg and tool handle using a 2-handled blade pulled toward his own body. A craftsman in 1890 could peel a green ash branch to a finished spindle in under 4 minutes. You grip both handles, hook the blade against the wood, brace the stock, and pull. The blade rides the grain in long, clean ribbons. A vintage draw knife costs $20 to $40. Black & Decker's retail expansion in the 1960s repositioned hand tools as inferior. The draw knife produces a burnished surface no planer can replicate. Your great-grandmother's father built furniture that is still standing. The electric planer at Home Depot will be in a landfill in 8 years. Number 18. The Wooden Joiner's Mallet. Before rubber mallets existed, your grandfather shaped his own mallet from a single piece of beech and drove chisels with it for 30 years. The striking face is angled 3 to 5 degrees off perpendicular, compensating for the natural inward wrist rotation on a downswing. Every blow lands flush. You can make one from scrap for under $5. The rubber mallet imparts vibration and bounce. The wooden mallet absorbs the energy and pushes it into the chisel. Stanley and Estwing dominated striking tools through retail exclusivity agreements. Wooden mallets vanished from professional displays. They are now standard at every serious woodworking school. Your grandfather made his. It cost him nothing but an afternoon. Number 17. The Hand Brace and Bit. Before electric drills, your grandfather's hand brace could bore a 1-inch hole through white oak in under 40 seconds. The wide U-shaped sweep multiplies torque. Fitted with an auger bit, it removes wood cleanly and quickly. Find a vintage brace at an estate sale for $3 to $8, add new Irwin bits, and your total is under $15 for a tool that will never strip a gearbox. Stanley's electric drill line, marketed heavily through hardware chains in the 1950s, rendered the brace nearly invisible on retail floors within 20 years. The brace still outperforms electric in tight spaces, wet conditions, and anywhere you need feel over speed. Your grandfather never blew out a wrist torquing a stuck bit, he just reversed the sweep. Number 16. The Travisher. Before power sanders dominated finishing, your great-grandmother's chairmaker hollowed Windsor chair seats in under 20 minutes using a Travisher. The curved sole prevents the blade from digging at the edges and guides the cut to follow the hollow naturally. Vintage Travishers appear at auctions for $20 to $60. The flat-pack furniture industry removed the market for hand-shaped seating in a single generation. Craftspeople like Peter Galbert and Curtis Buchanan brought the Travisher back. A machine-sanded seat is uniform. A Travishered seat fits the human body. Your great-grandmother sat in chairs made for her. The chairs at Home Depot are made for a warehouse shelf. Number 15. The Fry-Owie and Riving Brake. Before lumber mills existed in every county, your great-grandfather split his own shingles using a froe. 300 shingles in a day, each lasting 30 years longer than any sawn shingle. The froe follows the grain, so the fibers run continuous and uncut. Riven wood is stronger than sawn wood. Build a riving brake from scrap in 10 minutes. A vintage froe costs $15 to $30. Weyerhaeuser and Georgia-Pacific standardized sawn lumber and made riving economically invisible. Riven oak fence posts last 70 years. Sawn posts last 12. Your great-grandfather's barn has been standing since 1908. The pressure-treated posts from Home Depot will need replacing by 2035. Number 14. The combination plane. Before router tables filled every shop, your grandfather's Stanley 45 combination plane sat in a fitted box and cut 45 different profiles using one adjustable body. Adjustable fences, depth stops, and interchangeable blades. Switching profiles took 90 seconds. A vintage Stanley 45 sells for $80 to $150. A new router table costs $300 and offers a fraction of the functionality. Stanley discontinued the 45 in the 1960s as routers became cheaper to manufacture and easier to sell to a less skilled audience. Lie-Nielsen and Veritas now make premium versions that sell out regularly. The knowledge never died. It was just made inconvenient. Number 13. The Scorp. Before angle grinders took over, your great-grandmother's craftsman hollowed every wooden bowl using a scorp in under 15 minutes from a green basswood blank. The scorp is a curved blade with handles at both ends. Pull it toward your body across a concave surface, and the inside curve removes material cleanly. Work green wood and keep the blade sharp. A vintage scorp costs $10 to $25 at an estate sale. The lathe industry created the idea that bowl making requires $500 of equipment. The scorp requires a stump, a log section, and a sharp blade. The green woodworking movement restored scorp use to mainstream craft education. Your great-grandmother made bowls for her whole family with a $10 tool. The lathe at the craft store requires financing. Number 12. The Yankee Spiral Screwdriver. Before cordless screwdrivers existed, your grandfather drove every screw using a Yankee Spiral Screwdriver. One push, one turn. He assembled an entire cabinet face frame in 40 minutes using slotted screws and never stripped a head. Slotted screws are forgiving. The driver rides out before it strips. A vintage Yankee sells for $8 to $20. A cordless screwdriver from Home Depot costs $35 to $80 and requires charging. Phillips screws were patented in 1936 and designed to cam out on automotive assembly lines. Stanley adopted Phillips for manufacturing standardization, not user benefit. Your grandfather used slotted screws because they were honest. Number 11. The hand router plane. Before electric routers, your grandfather flattened every hinge mortise and dado bottom using a hand router plane set to 1/64 of an inch per pass. The flat base references the surrounding surface. The blade shaves the high spots, self-limiting, nearly impossible to overcut. A vintage Stanley 71 costs $40 to $90. A new Lie-Nielsen version costs $225 and is back-ordered for months. Black & Decker's plunge router, promoted through big box chains in the early 1970s, repositioned this tool as obsolete within a decade. The hand router plane outperforms electric in noise, control, vibration, and setup time for any mortise under 3 inches. Every serious furniture maker today owns at least one. Your grandfather owned one. He never needed the electric version. Number 10. The Scratch Stock. Before router bits existed in every profile, your great-grandmother's furniture maker shaped every custom molding using a piece of worn-out handsaw blade and a scrap of hardwood. Total material cost, $0. Custom profiles, unlimited. The steel is ground to the reverse of the desired profile and dragged across the wood repeatedly. It scrapes rather than cuts, so tear-out is nearly impossible. The surface needs almost no sanding. The router bit industry made it easier to buy a profile than to make a tool. Luthiers, period furniture makers, and architectural woodworkers still rely on scratch stocks exclusively. Your great-grandmother's furniture maker charged for the profile, not the tool. Number 9. The adze. Before electric planers, your great-grandfather leveled every timber using an adze. A skilled hewer could level a 12-foot beam to within 1/16 of an inch of flat in under 30 minutes. The blade is set perpendicular to the handle. Swung between the feet, each blow leaves a compressed surface stronger than anything a planer produces. Vintage adzes appear at estate sales for $20 to $60. Makita and Bosch pushed the portable electric planer through contractor channels in the 1970s, and the adze disappeared from production work. Architects and restoration specialists now specifically request adze-finished beams on high-end residential projects. Your great-grandfather finished every beam in his house by hand. The electric planer cannot replicate what he left behind. Number 8. The cutting wheel marking gauge. Before pencil gauges, your grandfather scribed every joint line using a wheel gauge. The line it left was not a pencil smear, it was a knife cut, clean and permanent. The cutting wheel severs fibers cleanly. When a chisel or saw registers in that line, it cannot wander. A vintage wheel marking gauge costs $15 to $30. Woodworking television in the 1990s standardized pencil marking because pencil lines read on camera. The pencil line is never where the tool should register. The knife line is. Your grandfather scribed his lines. He never chased a pencil mark. Number 7. The Cooper's Crows. Before stainless steel containers, every watertight barrel for 3,000 years was built by a cooper, and every stave was fitted using a crow's. The crow's cuts the groove into which the wooden head fits. The head expands into the groove as the barrel swells with liquid, creating a watertight seal under pressure. The steel drum and aluminum container industry, accelerated by wartime production in the 1940s, made cooperage unviable within 20 years. The legal requirement that bourbon barrels be new American oak kept coopering alive in Kentucky. Brown-Forman and Heaven Hill still employ trained coopers. Your great-grandfather's generation built containers that improved what they held. The plastic bin at Home Depot does not. Number 6. The wooden body hand plane. Before metal-bodied planes dominated woodworking, your grandfather smoothed every surface with a wooden plane fitted with a thick double iron. Wood dampens vibration. When a blade hits a hard spot, the steel body of a Bailey pattern plane transmits chatter to your hands. The wooden body absorbs it, and the cut continues. The thick iron, combined with a tight mouth of 1/64 of an inch, produces a shearing action and a surface that reflects light. Vintage wooden planes appear at estate sales for $5 to $40. Stanley's Bailey metal plane, marketed as a modern improvement in the 1860s, repositioned the wooden plane as obsolete within 2 generations. Japanese and European craftspeople never abandoned it. Your grandfather's plane worked because it was made from the same material it was shaping. Number 5. The bow saw. Before jigsaws existed, your grandfather cut every curve in furniture using a wooden bow saw strung with a thin blade under tension from a twisted cord. The blade rotates to cut at any angle to the frame. Curves tighter than 3/4 inch radius are easy. Build one for under $8 in materials. The frame design has not changed in 400 years because it cannot be improved. American retailers promoted electric tools as modern in the post-war period, and the bow saw disappeared from hardware stores by 1965. France, Scandinavia, and Germany kept it standard throughout. American woodworkers rediscovered it through European craftspeople in the 1990s. The jigsaw at Home Depot will burn the curve and leave tear out on both faces. Number 4. The rounding planes. Before dowel makers existed as commodity products, your grandfather made every chair rung and tool handle using a hollow and round pair of molding planes. 2 planes, every round shape in the shop. A complete vintage set costs $80 to $200. A lathe capable of the same work costs $400 minimum. The industrial dowel supply business removed the incentive to make your own round stock within a generation. A craftsman-made rung fits its mortise exactly, tapered for that specific chair. A store-bought dowel is a nominal size. The joint loosens in 7 years. Your grandfather's chairs are still solid. The chairs assembled with purchased dowels from the Home Depot bin are wobbling before the grandchildren are born. Number 3. The barefoot auger in a hand brace. Before spade bits existed, your grandfather bored every through hole in every timber frame connection using a long ship's auger and a hand brace. He could bore a 2-inch hole through 12 inches of white oak in under 3 minutes, steering by feel and emerging within 1/8 of an inch of true. The barefoot auger has no lead screw. The operator steers mid-bore and corrects course as needed. Nothing at Home Depot can replicate that. Irwin's spade bit, marketed heavily in the 1960s, was promoted as a replacement for a tool it could not actually replace. Your grandfather drilled wells, ran pipe, and bored beams with this bit. The spade bit at Home Depot will bind, deflect, and break before it reaches the end of the same hole. Number 2. The pattern maker's float. Before rotary files, your grandfather shaped every wooden casting pattern using a float. The float is a single-cut file with teeth running in one direction. Unlike a rasp, it removes clean shavings through clearance slots. Accurate to 1/64 of an inch without a guide. A complete vintage set costs $40 to $120. Laoger and Oriou in France still manufacture hand-stitched floats. The die grinder, pushed through industrial supply channels in the 1960s, replaced the float in production work. Pattern making collapsed in the United States as casting moved offshore. Luthiers, violin makers, and boat builders kept the float alive. Your grandfather shaped patterns that built machines still running today. Number 1. The dovetail saw with filed rip teeth. Before pocket hole joinery, your grandfather cut every drawer and box corner using a small rip-filed back saw with a brass back. He cut joints that have not moved in 100 years with a $12 saw, a marking gauge, and a sharp chisel. The reinforced spine prevents flex. The teeth cut parallel to the grain. The kerf is less than 1/32 of an inch wide. The irregularities in hand-cut joints create surface area that glue bonds to in all directions simultaneously. A vintage dovetail saw costs $12 to $40. The Craig pocket hole system, commercialized in the 1980s and promoted through big box retail, replaced dovetail joinery with joints that loosen within a decade under seasonal wood movement. Pocket hole joints in solid wood fail predictably. We now know exactly why. Your grandfather's drawers slide open every morning. The drawers built with pocket screws are already starting to rack. He left you furniture. The big box store is selling you furniture for now. Those are the 20 forgotten pioneer tools that outperform anything sold at Home Depot today. Every one of them is findable. Every one of them is learnable. The industry did not stop making them because they stopped working. It stopped selling them because you cannot subscribe to a hand tool. Share this with someone who still has their grandfather's tools in a box somewhere. They may have something worth more than they know.